Hi everyone, it's Shantae and welcome back to Kutztown Live. I have a special guest with me here today. I have Mr. John Fetterman. He is currently running for Senate. Welcome to the show, Mr. Fetterman.
Oh, Mr. Fetterman? Mr. Fetterman's my dad. He lives in New York. I'm John. Please call me John.
Okay, I'll call you John. So I'm so happy that you were able to make it
I'm delighted to be here.
Kutztown Live. I know I kept, emailing your communications director, and, I was finally able to get a hold of her, and I'm so happy that you all confirmed. But
yeah, well, it's great to be here.
Yeah, I would like to know, why are you running for Senate?
I'm running for the Senate because I would very much like to be a champion for all of Pennsylvania's forgotten communities and towns, the way I have been for Braddock for the last 15 years. And if you have ever been across Pennsylvania, you know that there are dozens and dozens of them, and there really isn't anybody in the United States Senate that lives in any of these communities, has actively done anything for these communities, and would champion them. So I would say that's the single biggest reason why I'm in this race.
Yeah, and I know that you are currently the mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even familiar with that company, but I would like to ask, do you believe that your experience as the mayor of Braddock makes you qualified to run for Senate?
Yeah, absolutely. What do you look for in a qualification from a senator?
Well, I look for someone who is genuine, definitely. Someone that is loyal to the residents, someone that keeps their word, someone that is also active in the community.
Sure. Well, I mean, by your definition, that's certainly the philosophy that we have here. Look, I've taken on issues in one of the poorest communities in the state, and we've made a lot of progress. And these issues are really at the forefront of the Democratic debate that we are having as a party. And I think you should do more as a candidate or somebody that's an elected leader than show up in Flint, Michigan, say with a case of bottled water, and then go vacation on Martha's Vineyard. I think you have to have skin in the game. I think you need to live in these communities. You have to champion these communities, and you have to take on these issues and actually develop and implement meaningful changes and improvements, as opposed to just saying, Black Lives Matter or, policing, community policing has to change. You actually have to have experience in doing these, and I think for that to be meaningful. And by those metrics, I'm the only candidate in this race that can say that.
Okay, absolutely. I definitely love your response. And like I said, I'm not familiar with Braddock, Pennsylvania. Can you tell me a little bit about that area?
Sure. Braddock, Pennsylvania is a smaller community outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're in southwestern Pennsylvania. I'm very familiar with your area, the woods, Kutztown. All of my grandparents were from Berks County in that area,
wow,
so I know that area really well. So we're on the opposite side of the state here, and Braddock is a poor community. It's about 80% African American, and I've been mayor here now for 11 years. And
wow.
Braddock is significant in the historical context because it's where Andrew Carnegie built his first steel mill. It's where the French and Indian War started back in 1755. So Braddock has a lot of rich history, but more importantly, it has a lot of troubles that really mirror issues that we're facing all across America. And as a result, we've been working in those issues and exercising leadership. And I believe that's what uniquely qualifies me over the other two candidates that are running for this office.
Yeah, I think it's so great that you decided to live in an area where it's not full of, middle class and rich people, because usually politicians, they sort of live in, rural areas.
That's where Katie McGinty lives. That's where Joe Sestak lives. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying that. And that gets back to my philosophy, where it's like, I think it's important, like where you live and what you do in your personal life and private life, I think is a reflection and extension of what you would do and how you would lead in public life. And I think, again, it's wonderful to espouse concern for the poor, the disadvantaged. But if you live in $1 million neighborhood, a leafy suburban enclave, I don't really think that that's what you truly value. And I think it's important that we have somebody in the Senate that understands that there's a very specific set of issues that we have in communities like this, that we need very specific types of investment in these kind of communities, and communities that have been left behind, much the way mine has been left behind. And unfortunately, and far too often, they involve communities of color. And I think that's one of the fundamental things that needs to change in American society.
Wow, yeah. So, like I said, I wasn't familiar with that company, but I do love the fact that you are actually, like, people can actually relate to you. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
like,
thank you.
they can actually see that you are actually making a difference, and you can relate to them because you are, living in the same area as them and possibly facing some of the same issues that they are facing. So, that is definitely great.
It's okay. I could give you an example. A couple of years ago, we discovered that there were people living without heat during the winter, which is appalling to me. Single mothers with young children, and when you find out, like, well, why don't you have heat? It's like, well, because they owe the gas company a couple $100. So we partnered with the local gas utility, and we were able to restore services to all of these homes. And this year was the first winter that we didn't have one single home in the community without heat. And heat's a fundamental right. You can't live in the winter without heat. So these are the kind of issues that we've had to address, and most people get to take that for granted. But there are big segments of society that can't take that for granted. And I just met a union worker who cleans hotel rooms in Erie, Pennsylvania, makes $7.75 an hour, and after all his deductions for 80 hours. Every 2 weeks, he takes home $357 per paycheck, and that's outrageous. Wow. So, I mean, these are the kind of people, these are the kind of communities, these are the kind of issues that my campaign's based on.
Yeah, that's like I said, I really commend you for, actually wanting to help out the people where you live. And getting into my next question, I did want to know, what are you doing in an effort to convince college students that you should be the one that they vote for?
Well, I was just at Penn State Erie last night. I've been on college campuses all across Pennsylvania, Temple, Penn, Slippery Rock, Penn State Erie, Pitt. So speaking on your radio station is just part of an overall strategy for us to just get out and speak to as many college students as we can. And I think our message will resonate. I think it has resonated, and we had an awesome exchange last night in Erie at Penn State. We had over 60 students there. We had a great question and answer session, and we actually had to leave. Otherwise, we could have gone on for hours. And I really enjoy that kind of give and take, and I enjoy, getting out and getting a chance to interact with real voters and real people that are just living their lives. They're not, they're outside of the politics bubble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when I actually Googled you, I noticed that you don't have the most typical appearance of someone that's in politics. You have tattoos.
Definitely not.
Yeah, you have tattoos. I was he really seems like a cool, laid back guy. And I want to know, do you think that that's an advantage or disadvantage?
I would say that it's both. I would say there are things that are advantageous about it, and there's also things that aren't. If you think that your senator should wear a dress or a suit, a professional business dress or suit, then I'm probably not your candidate. But if that's not important to you, and you think your senator should have experience working in real communities and taking on real issues, and not just living in a $1 million neighborhood and being a professional politician, and then I think you're open to voting for someone like me, and I would rather have people know who I am, know my story, know what we've done, and know what we're running on, and know what I look like, and this is how I really am, as opposed to try to be someone or something that I'm not. So, that's who I am. That's how I dress, and this is the community that I come from, and this is the place I'm proud to represent.
Yeah, I completely understand. So it's very important for you for people to see who you are as a human being than some sort of persona
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
judge you
absolutely.
based on your
I think it's
appearance.
your appearance matters, but I don't know if you've ever seen politicians where they're always trying to dress down and they try to pretend like they can relate and they're like, we're going to roll up my sleeves and get to work. It's like, well, I don't have any sleeves to roll up. I'm already wearing a work shirt. So I just think it's why let's just dispense with all that pretense and pretend that you're down for the working folks or you're down for the middle class and because you're not. I mean, that's not how you live your life. That's not where you live. That's not what that's not what you're about. And we're just the opposite. It's like this is how I dress and this is what I do. These are this is what I believe. And like I said, there's a very distinct segment of the electorate that thinks you should wear a suit and a tie or a dress, a business suit. And for those people, I hope they would give me a listen. I hope they give me an honest look over. But at the end of the day, it's a blessing and a curse. A lot of people recognize me. A lot of people, respond positively, and there are some people that again would hold my appearance, for lack of a better phrase, against me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And getting into my last question, I think you've pretty much answered it. I was going to ask you, what separates you from the other candidates? But like
Sure.
you said, like you actually can
Yeah.
relate to the residents. You have actually gone out and provided service
Yeah.
to
The,
the
the way
residents
I
of
would
Pennsylvania.
the way I would sum that up is biographical. If you want somebody that's long served in the Navy, again, Joe Sestak's your pick. If you want somebody that's more been a professional bureaucrat and a lobbyist, I mean that's Katie McGinty. And if you want an elected official that has lives in the kind of communities that people live in, that has the same kind of values and the same kind of experiences working to do it because it's the right thing to do, not because it's popular or it polls well or whatever. I mean, that's what my candidacy is all about, and those are the big differences I think between myself and the other two candidates.
Wow. Yeah. You've definitely, impressed me with what you are saying. Like I said, I didn't know about the area that you lived in, and I didn't
Hmm.
know that you have done like so many great things for the residents in your community as well as throughout Pennsylvania. And I
Well,
just want
I'm
to,
honored. I'm honored to have had that opportunity, and I'm really really grateful to you and your show to having me on and giving me a chance to talk to your audience.
yeah. And like I said, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and talk on Kutztown Live about some of the things you want to do and how you relate to the audience and why you should be chosen for the Senate race.
Sure.
Um,
Can I share our Twitter handle?
yes, sure.
It's at John Fetterman, all one word, Fetterman. We're on Facebook. Our website www.johnfetterman.com. Come check us out. We tweet at us. We'd love to interact with you. And again, thank you so very much for having me on your show.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day, John.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. That ends Kutztown Live for the day. And I just had a great interview with Mr. John. He doesn't want me to call him Fetterman. And yeah, so now you've heard all of the Democratic nominees, and I'm going to also try to get the independent nominee on the air as well. Thank you all, and have a great day.